Good evening, and welcome to Karl Marx Does the Washing Up,
where we ponder ludicrous metaphysical nonsense in the time it takes to make 5 Tesco's basic microwave meals.
which is around 21 minutes.
Indeed. I'm Ilyas and Shy.
I'm Shy.
And today, what are we talking about today?
Well, actually, I was going through our WhatsApp messages looking for inspiration. We've been friends for longer than I realised. Probably about 2 years.
Yeah?
Yeah? 2 years, give or take,
What's
10.
the matter to people
Yeah.
believe in time?
And what is time? But one of the first messages you ever sent me was a poem.
Was it? No, that doesn't sound right. The first thing I sent you was a poem. Oh my god, I'm a
one of
nightmare.
the first messages. It was a poem about a female. And I was thinking I could read it out.
About a female.
Are you ready?
Okay,
Or is this too embarrassing?
No. I think...
Well, it can't be any more embarrassing than the rest of the podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
You ready?
If I do.
So, actually, there was no name. Is it untitled?
Yeah, I guess it's... I don't know what it is.
Maybe you can tell me the title after I've read it.
Okay.
Because
none of my poems really have titles.
Yeah, because titles ruin works, right?
I don't know. I never tried it.
So, a girl just put her tongue in my mouth. It was pleasant. It makes no sense. I have a tongue, and it works pretty well. I guess the same can be said for most of life. It makes no sense, but it's pleasant. I think I will marry her. A life with 2 tongues doesn't sound too awful.
What nonsense.
So if I analyse this poem in a bit more depth,
Yeah.
I think I will marry her.
Well, it's just mine and your melodramatic nonsense.
I'm guessing, are you still with this girl?
No.
Do you even know who you wrote
I
this
don't
about?
even know if I was ever with her. And I don't think marriage was ever in the question. But it's just this dire need to sort of, I don't know, exaggerate everything to its greatest point. Well, that's what poetry is. It's just a ludicrous theatricization, yeah, of reality, right?
Yeah, but you're just focusing on one moment and you're making it everything.
And just making
right?
it eternity.
But that's what we do in our life anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's why...
Poetry is in life, right?
Yeah.
Alright, then, okay, fine. So, I guess the same can be said for most of life. It makes no sense, but it's pleasant. Do you still feel that's the case?
Yeah, life makes no fucking sense.
But is it still pleasant?
Yeah, I mean, it has its unpleasant moments, but even if you look at the unpleasantness in the context that it doesn't make sense, the nonsense within the unpleasantness is itself pleasant.
It's very true.
Because once you
I do agree with that statement.
yeah, I think once you really look reality in the eyes and in any single moment, and you just realize how mind-blowingly absurd it is, how fucking ridiculously crazy it is that we as thinking, feeling, living, loving beings exist. I mean, you can't do anything but just burst into fits of laughter and just smile and so it doesn't even matter whatever's happening in your life. If you focus with attention on that absurdity, I think for me it just brings the laughter and everything is joyous for at least one moment.
But I think I think it's very difficult to ask people to do that. It's we're so self-centered, we love ourselves so much. It's very hard for us to take a step back and think about, the absurdity of us just being thinking, feeling, living beings. I don't think that approach applies to a lot of people. If that was the advice that you would say to someone who is in an unpleasant moment in their life, I don't think that would work.
Really?
Yeah. And also, I don't think it's something we
probably
follow.
they'll just chuck your glass at the
Yeah.
drink at you.
I don't think it's something we follow either.
It's something I'd actually do
Really?
quite a lot. I would just look at a tree and then just burst into laughter.
Yeah, but that's
when
because
I'm sad.
you're clinically insane.
Yeah. But I mean, whatever the reason, it's still
irrelevant.
happens,
Yeah,
right?
that's very true. But what about... I actually think that we follow a different notion in that we just believe that the next moment will be pleasant. Even if this moment is unpleasant, the next moment has the potential to be pleasant.
So I don't think I like this idea, and I've had it as a sort of theory, but it hasn't brought into my being. The absurdity is pretty brought into my being, at least momentarily.
And why do you think that is the case?
What that I've brought absurdity into my being?
Yeah, rather than my notion of the next moment being the best moment.
Because I've had unpleasant moments before, and they've turned into even more unpleasant moments. Right?
Yeah, but the moment after that is pleasant.
Yeah. But what I love about this idea is because I don't know, I think I was telling you about this, I had this realization that it was once a moment exists, it's actualized, so it has a finitude to
and
it.
it's realised its potential, right?
Yeah, it can never be
anything.
Whereas
different.
the next moment has infinite potential. It could be the greatest moment of all humanity to have ever existed.
Exactly.
It's only once it becomes actual that potential is lost.
So how can any moment...
But I still don't believe it's going to be the best moment of all humanity.
Yeah, but how can any moment be
that has-
unpleasant if the next moment has the potential to be the greatest moment?
Yeah, exactly. That's the realization. That's the point. Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Oh, you're with me?
No, I'm with you on this, but well, we can have two mechanisms for joy, can't we? We don't need to have like
Just one.
Yeah, and both these theories aren't like against each other. The notion of absurdity and like potentiality.
Well, if you extrapolate on your notion of absurdity, like where did it come from, and how does it affect your being outside of this moment, outside of like using it to provide joy?
So I actually came to this realization when I was having a bath. Of course,
obviously.
I was listening to Ashra Temple,
Obviously.
drinking a cup of Earl Grey tea.
In the bath.
Yeah. What do you want about it? You're an amateur bather. Well, of course. Yeah, I've got it all set up. Don't worry. There's candles. There's everything. We've got the incense. We've got and like smoking a beedi.
No way. Was there milk in your Earl Grey? Because you shouldn't put milk in your
Yeah, there was actually.
No way.
But it's the milky. It's like the contrast between the like clarity of the water that you're bathing in and the milky ness of the tea that sort of like reflects each other in this like moonlight sonata.
And as you drink the murky water of the tea, the bathing water actually gets dirtier.
Yeah, that's in your bath because you smell everything everywhere. So I was having this bath, and then I had like this really like really profound feeling that I was just like, fuck, and I was just like, I refer to it as the fuckness. Yeah. Because it's just like that moment where everything just shatters and like you realize like nothing matters. And that the path towards truth, not nothing matters, but like I had this notion now that like, the path towards truth lies in the sort of admiration of beauty rather than the delusion of comprehension. And that if we try to like, I think philosophers and like what I was doing for many years is like trying to like interrogate reality and try and ask it many questions in order to get to the true nature of reality or to what truth is.
An example of these questions would be?
Why
am I here? What am I doing? Those sort of questions?
Yeah, why am I here? What am I doing? Is there a God? All these questions. But the problem with the question is not the question. It's that the question sort of has this inbuilt kind of promise of an answer.
When really there is no answer.
But, I mean, even if there is an answer, the way in which to sort of, like, at least the way I found to get to a deeper truth of reality is to, like, live in the question and to revel in the beauty of what is occurring at this moment in this time. And that's why I kind of revere the poets, like, I moved from philosophy to poetry because I feel like...
Poetry is just focusing on the moment, right?
Yeah, and like poets spend time with the universe, whereas philosophers like interrogate it.
Yeah,
right?
Okay.
And I think the good like a good sort of metaphor is like when you're in a relationship with somebody, you can ask many questions, like what is your favorite pizza topping, of course, or whatever. You can ask them lots of questions, and you'll learn about them. You'll learn about like the sort of context of their being, right? You'll learn where they came from, all these sort of things, which do have a utility and a first, and it does like build up their person. But their true being, when you say I know somebody, like I know my girlfriend, or I know my mother, or whatever, it comes from like really spending time with them and just like I don't know, having an understanding of their movements, of how they react to things, how they respond to things, all these ineffable kind of ideas. And I think that's what gives like true knowledge. When you say you know somebody, it's because of that. It's not because you know where they came from. And I think if we use the same mechanism for understanding reality, we can get to a much clearer notion. Not clearer, because as soon as it becomes like articulate and precise and stuff,
it's broken.
Then it loses a certain...
But then I think we're both good at this because we're constantly asking people who they are. And
they say or something.
Yeah, exactly. I'm a 27-year-old dentist from Essex, and that's not the answer that we're looking for, right? Because people spend so much time, forget with their girlfriends or their boyfriends, but with themselves, and yet they still know so little about themselves. So, because you've had this absurd realization, do you think that you know yourself? Like when you're spending time with yourself, do you think you know yourself any better than the 27-year-old banker from Essex?
I don't know. Maybe I know that I don't know myself, which is the same.
But you never stop discovering who you are, right? But
but
you
also
feel like
who
know
you are
yourself
changes
better.
as well. So you can't really know. It's like,
Does it change?
to
it?
know? Yeah, I think so.
Why does it change?
Because everything's in constant flux.
Yeah, but maybe there is a constant, right?
Yeah, so this is something which really
Because maybe you are the
scrambles
constant
my
while
brain
everything
a
is
bit.
fluxing.
Is right, huh? Yeah,
Maybe you're the constant while everything is in flux.
yeah. I am the constant while everything is in flux. We are the constant while everything is in flux.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
but
you think you are the one-
that sounds way too egocentric, or like solipsistic, self-centric, whatever.
But then,
Like-
if you think that everything is in flux,
Yeah,
then it would be very hard to stay sane.
yeah, but like, have you met anybody who stayed sane?
Not in our
I'm not-
immediate
I'm not-
friendship zone.
yeah.
yeah, that's very true.
I mean, we do consciously maintain our insanity and like search for people who reflect our insanity.
Yeah.
But like,
Maybe insanity is contagious.
that's true. That's another question. Like,
Yeah.
but forget about it. No. Wait. What were we saying?
So my theory was that I'm the constant while the world is in flux. But you're saying that's too egocentric and too self-centered.
Yeah, but so I think everything's... Well, we definitely changed. Like we're definitely not the same person. If we take it... There's, like... The self can be, like, seen from so many perspectives. There's the physical self, the sort of...
Mental self,
mental
yeah,
self,
the
the
emotional self, yeah,
metaphysical,
yeah.
the soul, whatever.
Yeah.
But if we say... So what really is kind of crazy is that we definitely change in, like, whatever, like, physically, we're, like... Our cells are all renewed, like, constantly, right? So I think it's like, after 7 years,
Yeah,
there's not a single cell in your body which was the same. But how do we still look like the same? Like, I can still look at a picture of you and say that's Shy, like a couple of years ago. We can still...
And
but that's
scars.
what I don't understand.
Our scars on the outer and on the outside of our skin are still there 7 years from now.
Yeah, that's true as well.
Any scars or any injuries that we would have picked up. But
So maybe your thing does make sense then. That you're the constant.
while everything else is in
While
flux.
everything else... But why would we be a constant? Does that mean other animals are constants as well?
Maybe everyone is a constant in their own flux.
But if we look at a table...
Yeah.
Right? A table maintains itself, like at least from a outside physical perspective, much more than we do. Like we see ourselves aging.
Yeah, but why does that matter? Why does our physical self matter? We're only focusing on like the mental aspect.
Oh, we are. Okay, we're talking about the mental aspect.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, but so you're saying mentality is constant? That makes no sense.
That
Because
makes no sense,
like you have
because it changes
traumatic
every day.
experiences
Yeah,
and stuff.
yeah.
And you are like the biggest example of this because you're like
I change
your
my
opinion is
every day. Yeah. Well, maybe we aren't actually. No, that actually does make a lot of sense. Maybe we're not the constant in the flux. But then, what is the flux? Because I just don't think we can live in a world where everything is in flux.
Why not?
Where if everything is changing, then there's no stability.
No, stability is like lies in the acceptance of the constantness of change.
But why do anything if it's just going to change?
Why not?
What? You can't
because-
answer a question that says why with why not.
Well, because the thing is, if everything's changing, then you have to do something to be part of that change. And if you're doing nothing, you're still part of the change. You have no say. There's no question. There's not any. You're not like.
Yeah, so why do anything? Like you said. Like, if
I'm very pro doing nothing.
but if things are going to change no matter what, why do anything in this world? Right? Why even have a family?
But joy can still exist. Like it doesn't like just because things change doesn't mean you can't like have like meaning, joy, all the good things in life, right?
Yeah, but there's potential that, you know, like we said, instead of the next moment being pleasant, the next moment could be thoroughly unpleasant.
Yes. Yeah, but so what?
Well, maybe we're doing it the wrong way. Maybe instead of seeing it as a moment, maybe instead of a moment lasting only, you know, a fleeting amount of time, maybe a moment can be your whole life.
Yeah, true. But like that's
So there is no next moment.
So this is what we're getting into the idea of time.
Yeah,
again. It's like, but time is like it's a framework for understanding or making like easier to organize the constantness of flux.
Well, okay, so
Right.
how would you define a moment?
So this is why I love the idea of moments, because it's like a sort of finite pinpointing which alludes to an infiniteness. Like a moment has no actual end, and that's why like everything I'm so concerned with moments always, because it's just like it has no limit. It's infinite. A moment is in its sense so finite that it's infinite. It's like
No,
it's
that's
a
pretty
precise.
Yeah, because you're right. It could be me just like, smelling a piece of bread, or it could be my whole day at work.
Yeah.
Like a moment could be both of those things.